I don't tell stories very often, but I figure since we're in Porum and this is where it happened, I thought I'd go ahead and share it with you. My grandparents lived in my great-grandparents' house after they passed away, and they lived, I don't know where you know where the hills are over there on down 263. There used to be a 2-story white farmhouse, and that belonged to my family when my grandparents lived there. So it was a summer night, a lot like this, and my parents had taken us out. We actually lived 2 hours away from here at the time. So we had gone out to see them one more time before school started. And it was probably around middle school age about this time, so it's been a long time ago, almost like 25, 30 years ago. So I decided, I've always been big on exploring. I love the woods, I love anything new, and they had a lot of property. So I'd gone out of the white farmhouse and figured, well, it's safe, I'll just go back there. So I walked back to the pond, and I walked up to the tree line and went in and started exploring. As I explored, kind of, you know how you get that feeling like something is off, something's kind of watching me? So I'm sure something was, but in my mind, I wasn't familiar with that feeling. And so I felt it, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel real good. So I started looking around and paying more attention to my surroundings, and it's hard to explain. I didn't see anything per se except a distortion, almost like shining a mirror back on the trees, and the distortion moved. Scared me to death. So I hightailed it back, and I was already far enough away where I realized this was a problem, this was an issue. I might not make it back to the farmhouse if this thing's serious. So I was already pretty deep in the woods back there, and I could hear it behind me at this time. And whatever it was big. And I ran until I got, that little pain in your side, and I was out of breath, and I stopped and I turned around. I got close to the clearing, and I turned around because I had heard it stop. And so I stopped, and I looked around, and I didn't see it, and then all of a sudden I heard the steps again, and there was the distortion. It was not anything animal-like. It almost had a human figure, but you couldn't see a human. And that's when it came at me again. So that's when I hightailed it again. So I made it clear past the pond, and I didn't pay much attention after that. But I always kind of wondered, didn't really go out on my own after that. Whenever I visited my grandparents, I always kind of hung out in the farmhouse. But being in Porum, I kind of wonder if it's still out there, and sometimes if it watches from the tree lines. I'm not sure. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed it.
All right.